I like to take a moment to recognize some people that are really, really important people to me and that assisted me along my journey of evolution and development. I like to take a moment to recognize us, Miss Alice Boswell and Just Me Magazine. If you haven't subscribed to Just Me Magazine, go on, Google it, subscribe to Just Me Magazine. Make sure you sign up and receive your copy because it's a lot of good information. It's time for us to start to develop those individuals that are going to provide us the information that we need in order to be successful. I like to always shout out Fred, my brother in spirit and in flesh, co-founder of New Day Horizons and also Freedom Ties. Always get tied up in the movement. Hey, Danielle, what's going on, Danielle? Let's dream big. Always important in everything that we're doing as a community. Tony Ringgold and Premier Music Academy, Omari Brandon, The Art of Unity, Sister Rhonda Brown and the Central Texas Think Tank. Wonderful, wonderful people that are in our community that are actually trying to make a difference. The Frasers and KZ Fraser Drama Company. If ever you see a KZ Fraser performance, make sure that you go out and get a ticket, sign up for it, go find out what's going on. The things that they're doing is just paramount to the success of our community because that's where it starts. It starts in our community when we begin to take the time to change the images that we see as a community, and that comes to us through various forms of media, either the spoken word or the or theater. So let's make sure that we participate in those events. Hey, and if you're in the Killeen area tonight, y'all make sure y'all go check out Fannie Mae's Cafe and Mr. Mario. Hey, they getting ready to do their thing. It's going down at 6:30, Fannie Mae's Cafe. So y'all want to make sure y'all go check it out. But hey, but real quick, I just want to take a moment to just talk about a little bit about like how I kind of got to this place. I want to say at 41 years old, man, this journey started for me probably somewhere around January 15th or so, 1975. I was just a thought with my father. We was having a conversation one day because my father he used to be real concerned about like life after death and what was going to happen to him. And me, I don't too tough believe in the concept of heaven or hell. I don't really believe, and I believe in them as conditions of life. I don't necessarily believe in them as things that we experience post our physical existence. And so my father was arguing with me one day. That joker was like, man, you can prove it. You can go and you can go take an X-ray, and that X-ray can show you, the energy that exists within inside of the human being. And so when I was explaining that joke, I said, yeah, man. And sometime around January 15th, 1975, your energy got horny. You know what I'm saying? And you emitted your energy into my mother, and here I am, the physical manifestation of your energy. So we got to be obedient to those things that we have to do, you know what I'm saying? Because our journey started not necessarily from the time period that you became conscious in your waking life, but your journey actually started in the thoughts of the individuals who conceive you, you know what I'm saying? So I recognize and I tie my journey to the thoughts that existed inside of my father, at my conception. So when I became a little more conscious of who I am and what I want to be able to do with my life, I went back and I asked my daddy. I was like, man, I said, man, what was on your mind when you made me? You know what I'm saying? Because my daddy, he was kind of, kind of funny dude. You know what I'm saying? That joker used to say stuff like, he had doubts about some of his kids. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's a couple of y'all jokers got doubts about some of y'all kids. You know what I'm saying? But my father used to tell me he had doubts about some of his kids, and I say, well, look here, don't have no doubts about me, because you could have put me on a mattress or something. You know what I'm saying? Or you could have flushed me down with the rest of my little brothers and sisters. But my daddy used to always say, he say, man, joke, I had just got from locked up. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't no way possible that was gonna happen. So my birthday is about like 40 weeks after my daddy's birthday. So when you do the math, that dropped me square on October the 13th, baby. So 40 weeks, I always tell my dad, I say, man, you the sorriest joker I know. Girl, do something nice for you, man. You ruined the life. But you know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion. When I sit back and I tabulate the math and I do the numbers. But that's what we started at, man. And I might have had an experience when I first started developing or learning or thinking more about myself. I was doing meditation, and at the time when I was doing my meditative practices, I was having this vision. It was like a moment with myself as I was doing the guided meditation, and as I was doing the guided meditation, it was taking me through the different phases of life and the things that I had experienced. And it came a point where I was visioning myself in a room, and when I analyzed the room as I moved out, in and around through the room. For anybody who in Miami, y'all know that y'all know over there by where on the 79th Street Causeway, over there by where Channel 7 is. It's it used to be a apartment over there, and my daddy always told me that, you know what I'm saying, after he got out of jail in 1975, that Joker had an apartment room over there. And so I was visioning myself in the apartment room, and when I came out of the apartment room, it was like I had a moment where I could see my father, and we was locked eyes. Now, my father passed in 2009, so this is just something that I was just visualizing as I was having a moment of self-discovery, and I was visualizing myself in the eyes of my father. So when I was in the room, as I was contemplating myself in the room, and again, this is all just my own visualization, as I was visualizing myself in the room, and I'm talking about my own particular journey. You do your own journey. I'm just telling you about mine. But as I was visualizing myself in the room, I had to ask myself, was I experiencing the room as myself, or was I experiencing that condition of thought as myself in the conscience of my father? So that's just an experience that I had. It was just something that I experienced as I began to analyze myself, trying to repair some of the things that I experienced within inside of myself. Hey, Kathy, always good to see you. What's going on with you? All right. Because you think about some of the things that you've been through in your own life. You know what I'm saying? Just think about your particular journey. You know what I'm saying? Some of the things that you done experienced in life, like some of your ups and your downs, some of your highs and your lows. Then think about the most difficult condition that you ever experienced as a person. You know what I'm saying? Think about the hardest day of your life. I was contemplating the hardest day of my life, and as I was contemplating the hardest day of my life, well, I shouldn't say the hardest day of my life. I had a whole bunch of hard days, but as far back in my memory as I can go, probably the most traumatic moment that I can recall as I go back, when I'm talking about trauma, I'm talking about something that acted upon me from outside of me. Man, I had to be about 8 years old. And so when I was contemplating how to reconcile that within inside of myself, it just made me think. I was like, man, as difficult as that situation was, I know right now somewhere in our society is someone who's going through 100 times worse than what I experienced. At some place in our life, man, we got to be able to develop the ability to come out of ourselves, one, forgive ourselves and reconcile some of those difficulties that exist inside ourselves. Man, sometimes you got to let that stuff go. You can't continue to hold on to that stuff as you try to navigate through life, because if you continue to try to hold on to that stuff, man, it ain't gonna do nothing but derail you. It ain't gonna do nothing but hold you back from attaining your eventual perfection. So let's work on trying to release some of that foolishness, man. It's time for us to get past some of those things, so that way we can continue the process of evolving and building what we got to do in order to develop our community. And that's where we at right now, because the job has fallen to us. It has fallen to us, those individuals who are entering into the, to the more progressive years of their lives, to be able to develop solutions to the problems that afflict our communities. And then we got to first be able to acknowledge that our community is afflicted. And so once you come into that realization, in my opinion, my humble opinion, once you come into that realization, it becomes incumbent upon you to look at the problems that you faced in your life to help to develop the solutions in real time to those problems. Because as you come through it, through the vicissitudes of life, those experiences lay the foundation for understanding, so that you can help to guide someone else through their journey as they progress through some of those same problems that they'll face in their life, some of those things that you've mastered. What are some of those things that we need to be looking at to try to understand on a greater level? Lay them out. Poverty, right? Want, addiction to drugs, addiction to sex, addiction to violence, all of these things that we experience inside our households growing up that were completely unnormal, but for us, because of the condition that existed inside our community, we accepted them as normal. But they're actually very unnormal activities that take place within inside of the homes, and some of those things that we experience when we growing up as we evolve. So now when we experience these things, we develop a reaction to it, we develop a hardness for it, or an inclination toward it, based on some of those things that that we experience, but they're still unnatural. But so when we experience them, as we evolve through and out of them, it gives us the ability not to sit back and judge an individual because where they may find themselves at in their evolution. It gives us a resource bank that we can use to help evolve them people out of their conditions, so that way they can become better men and women as we seek to try to improve the conditions that exist inside of our community. And that's our job, that's our responsibility. And I accept my part of it, and I will hope that everyone who has the opportunity to hear these words, I hope you accept your responsibility too, because our children need it. Our children deserve to have role models in the community. Our children deserve to, hey, any of y'all remember Mr. Phillips? Hey, it was so easy to skip school. All you had to go do was get that joke up, pack a cool menthol 100, you know what I'm saying, and know the word of the day. And if you ain't know the word of the day, that's probably why you ain't never get a chance to leave school like how some of us left school. But you know, it is what it is. But those individuals, you know, that was in our community that was serving as our role models, they was doing the best that they could with what they was working with. You know what I'm saying? So as we develop, as we find ourselves where we are now, and we enter into that level of our life where we begin to become mentors and leaders and all of those things, you know, what type of leader will we be? What type of mentor will we be? What type of goals will we set for our children, for our progeny, for our grandchildren? You know, what will that look like? The world that we are getting ready to develop. Because if you look on TV right now, man, I mean, that thing seemed a little catastrophic. We watching, you know, $110 billion arms deal being forged between America and the Saudi Arabian society. We see a nuclear pact that is failing every single day that exists within inside of Iran. We look inside of in North Korea, the North Korea Proliferation Act. These things are terrible. Our world is in disarray, but we shouldn't be disheartened about it, and we should look at it more so as an opportunity to evolve and place our stamp on society, because in our era, we have the ability to stop these things and make them what they need to be in order for the benefit of our children and our grandchildren and for future generations. But at some point, we as people have to begin to look at ourselves in the same light that we view, you know, those ancient societies. You know, we look at them with reverence, and when we think about, you know, all of the great works in the Egyptian culture, and you know, some of those individuals who are more learned than myself, you can go back thousands of years, and we look at the marvelous works that those individuals did in evolving societies, and we honor them and we praise them. But at no point do we look at ourselves with that same adulation. We need to be able to look at ourselves as those same great societies, those same great people, because we have the same opportunity as them, because we have an opportunity to set the record straight. And so that's what our journey is about. Our journey is a journey where we have to become those individuals who stand up and say, never again will we allow those things that afflicted us in the past to afflict us anymore. And we're going to move forward, and we're going to do what is necessary as a community to evolve our community, so that way we will be able to have peace in our streets, peace in our community, peace for our children, for our women. But it's necessary that we develop as men. So I put a lot of emphasis on men being men. But hey, y'all women, y'all ain't y'all don't get a free pass about the things that y'all need to do as well, because it's incumbent upon women to step forward and step up to the plate and develop women. Because when you see a good woman, you know it's going to be some good men somewhere around. But wherever you see a no good woman, you see a no good man who made it that way, and we'll accept the responsibility for that. But understand this, as y'all get the bashing on us, that we ain't had an opportunity to be men yet, because all we've seen in our community and our evolution has been a lot of good serviceable males. So it's our time. It's our time to step up to the plate, and we're gonna do what we got to do. And I know here within inside of the community that I live in, it's a lot of great, strong men in this community every single day, stepping up, challenging, you know, the status quo, challenging their selves in order to evolve themselves to become better examples of the men that our community require, that our women deserve, and that our children so desperately need. And so I challenge you all to do the same thing. I challenge you all to step up to the plate and try to become better than what you are. I challenge you all to take 30 minutes a day to put something in your head that'll help to change the way that you see and understand. So y'all always know, and I'm gonna get ready to wrap this on up, right? Because I gotta get ready to go to Mr. Mario's production, Fannie Mae's Cafe. But whenever I come and I chop it up with y'all, and two, let me tell you something, man. It ain't easy jumping on here, you know, to talk to y'all. I probably do it about once a month. I do it once a month because it takes a lot, because I realize that every word that comes out of my mouth, especially when I put that joker on one of these little videos like this, I know I'm going to be personally held accountable by my own belief system for the things that I say, because you can't mislead people and you can't be just up here just running your mouth. You got to be serious about what you do, because the world needs serious men. Our community needs serious black men. And so anybody who offended by me stating that, then you need to really, really check yourself, because the world has seen every other racial classification have a serious man that step forward and do the things that's necessary. But we as a people, we are afraid to identify with those individuals from our community that are serious black men. You know what I'm saying? But it's time. Our community needs, it requires a serious black man. And I ain't talking about a black man that just is passive or want to be included in what's going on. Somebody who's ready to step outside the status quo and challenge those things. So as I leave y'all, I just want to share with y'all something, right? If you haven't gotten this book, you might, hold on, maybe I need to flip the camera around. Maybe I need to try to figure out, well, hell, read it backwards. All y'all dyslexic anyway, right? But the name of this book is How White Folks Got So Rich. It's a it's a jewel, right? And if you don't know where to get it, man, go online to store.finalcall.com, and I'm sure that you can get it there. But I'm going to read you something called The Compromise of 1877. As we understand that we came up out of slavery in 1865, I'm going to read to you a few words. I'm not going to read to you everything, because I want you to go get the book, so that way you can read the real precious jewels that are embedded within inside of this book. But I just want you to consider something, and I'm going to read you something. So this is called The Compromise of 1877. The Compromise of 1877 is probably the most devastating single political event in the history of blacks in America. That is when a group of politicians of both parties convened at the Wormley Hotel in Washington, D.C. to attempt to resolve the deadlocked presidential election of 1876 between Rutherford B. Hayes and Samuel Tilden. They agreed that if Hayes were given the presidency, he would remove the troops that were protecting the black ex-slaves in the South and allow the former slaveholding class and the system that had made it wealthy to return to power. In effect, it is the exact point in history when American whites decided that black emancipation was a mistake. And from that day forward, blacks would never have freedom, justice, or equality in American society. Thus, whites who had actually rebelled and taken up arms against their own country, resulting in the deaths of more than 850,000 citizens, were forgiven and accepted as equal partners over and above all blacks, many of whom had fought to repel the terrorists and save the Union. Blacks had made great strides in those 14 years since emancipation and had developed businesses, achieved political offices, and even set up dozens of all-black towns. But they met a violent demise at the hands of jealous and covetous whites. Under this compromise of 1877, blacks were returned to virtual slavery and assigned to permanent political, social, and economic inferiority. Louisiana Congressman William M. Levy, a member of Jewish community, gave the speech in Congress that convinced the lawmakers that this profoundly racist action was the best policy for all of America. Man, get this book, so that way we can understand. Until we begin to equip ourselves with information to make ourselves conscious of where we find ourselves in society, there is no way that we're going to be on level playing field as we seek to try to improve our communities. We have to equip ourselves with the information that's necessary to power or inform our decisions. Because right now we're making decisions, but we make decisions based on how we feel emotionally. But we must begin to inform our decisions with information that will empower us to make decisions that are going to give us the ability to be able to enter into negotiations to benefit our communities. And you can't do it leaning to your own understanding. You have to be able to do it with information that empowers serious, staunch, critical decisions. Do what you want to do with it, man. Hey, be that as it may. But hey, I do my best to try to make the best decisions that I can. I don't say that I make all of the correct decisions, but I don't mind making a mistake or two, because then that gives us something to apply on critical thought, analyzation, and review to as we move towards trying to make better decisions to improve the condition that exists inside our community. Our community needs you. Our community needs the cooperation and the unity of all of those serious individuals that are unafraid to take those steps and put themselves, at the forefront or at the tip of the spear, as they say, militarily. So look, man, hey, y'all go out and y'all do your thing. Hey, here in a couple of days, the city of Killeen, we're gonna have a block party for all of those individuals that are for all of those individuals that are graduating in the class of 2017. So shout out to them, to the graduates of the class of 2017. Hey, I salute you. You know what I'm saying? That wraps up my formal responsibility to my son. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I hope he's built out of what I'm built out of, because I'm done. So, hey, so now all I can do is give you a little wisdom, you know what I'm saying? And a gentle pat on the way as you go ahead and do what you got to do. But all of those individuals that's working in conjunction with us to make this block party a phenomenal event. And we're going to shoot y'all some videos and show y'all some pictures of that thing, man. So y'all lay around for it. You know what I'm saying? But to Curtis Kid Martin, to Sister Joanne, Chicago, Devon Dura, that boy, brother Mike Estevan Williams, you know what I'm saying? Hey, thank you. Thank you to all of those individuals who have taken up the mantle and say they want to help us make the block party a success. Man, hey, we look forward to coming out with y'all and having a peaceful time. Hey, and for those individuals in the Killeen area, man, hey, y'all make sure that y'all pass the word to those individuals that come out there to support the block party. One, we need as many civic leaders as can. Come out there and shake these kids' hands and tell them, hey, congratulations on all of the hard work, 12, 13 years worth of sacrifice to try to make the community better. Shake their hands, give them hugs, pounds, give them some of your wisdom. Let's move them on to become successful adults, knowing that they have the support of their community that's backing them towards success in anything that they try to do. And let's do that in all communities across this land. Support the children that are getting ready to become adults, because we need these children to become serious adults so that way we can improve the conditions that exist inside of our community. So again, hey, thank y'all for taking a moment out of y'all day to spend time with us. Thank y'all for all that y'all do as we try to improve the conditions that exist inside our community. Hey, Alice. Hey, and again, one time for Just Me magazine. Hey, the hottest, fastest growing publication in the United States. Hey, y'all help us make Just Me magazine one of the best magazines that you ever seen, ever heard of. Go get get a subscription. Recommend it to 10 of your friends, and let's go out and let's start to improve the conditions of our community by making ourselves available to information that's a different point of views. Stop wanting to be the dominant person inside a room, man. Enter some intellectual dialogue that'll give you the ability to challenge your thought. Because if you're the smartest person inside of a room, hey, if you're the smartest person inside of a room, I wouldn't want to be in the room with you. I'm just going to say it like that, right? Right. Like, hey, step your game up. You know what I'm saying? Let's get a little bit brighter. There you go. Hey, she just added the link one time for Sister Alice. Hey, y'all click on that link and go get that magazine, man. Hey, and on Everything I Love, it's a wonderful, wonderful publication. And then you might even be able to find your man in there from time to time. Hey, so again, thank y'all for everything that y'all do. Continue to strive hard and work hard to improve the conditions in our community. We need you. What's up, Uncle Jeffrey? Hey, we need y'all to improve the conditions of our community. We can't get it done without y'all. Hey, again, hey, I love y'all. Y'all be easy, be safe, be blessed, and more so than anything else, stand up wherever you at. Stand up. Hey, in the face of adversity, stand up. Be courageous in everything you do. Stand up. Don't allow nobody to talk crazy to you, period, point blank, at all. Stand up. Always be nice and loving and kind to your children and to those women in our community. They deserve it. They've done enough. They've carried us on their back for centuries, and it's time for us now to, to get our upright row in. So, hey, so with that being said, hey, y'all be easy, man. Be blessed. I love y'all. Y'all stay tuned. Peace.